To demonstrate the significance of our exclusive 5-star certification, which addresses critical performance factors for cord strapping, we'll take you back to our lab to compare the system strengths of Redback 1¼ woven strapping and buckles to the system strengths of a leading competitor's product. But first, we want to explain what system strength actually means so you can make smart and safe decisions when buying and using strapping. Traditionally, linear strength, end-to-end, has been used to describe strapping performance, but that's not really how strapping is used. Strapping is used in loop form as a system with a fastener. And when it comes to woven and composite cord strapping, the joint at the buckle is usually the weakest link. So loop strength, also known as system strength, is a better indicator of performance because it takes into consideration the joint strength at the fastener. Steel banding and plastic strapping, however, tend to break at the corner of a load rather than at the fastener, so the joint strength and consequently their system strengths aren't as relevant. System strength is not a formula or multiplier of linear strength, and straps alone do not have system strengths. A cord strapping system requires both strap and buckle, and the results vary greatly depending on buckle geometry, width, and wire gauge. So today, we're going to take a look at how Redback woven strapping performs when coupled with Redback buckles of different widths and gauges, and then compare our results to similar strapping and buckle combinations of a leading competitor. We're using our ASTM calibrated tensile test machine with accuracy of more than 99%, and we have a PC controller to chart the results. We're conducting all tests with the strapping in loop form, joined at the buckle with single wraps, in the same way you would use strapping and buckles in the field. No double wraps. And we're pulling all tests at 5 inches per minute. First up is our CW105 1¼ woven 3,300-pound strapping coupled with our recommended BF 3270 1¼ 275 gauge phosphated wire buckle. This is our heaviest gauge 1¼ phosphated wire buckle, and the average of 3 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of 5,591 pounds. And here's the comparison to a leading competitor's 1¼ woven 3,285-pound strapping coupled with their 1¼ 275 gauge phosphated wire buckle. The average of 5 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of only 4,738 pounds, about 15% lower performance than Redback strapping. Now, there are some situations when you may want to use a lower gauge buckle, either to operate at a lower working tension or perhaps to save some money. So let's take a look at what happens when we down gauge our 1¼ wire buckle from 275 to 238 gauge. Using the same Redback 1¼ woven strapping as before, the average of 3 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of 4,808 pounds, outperforming the competitor's heavier gauge buckle and strap combination. Which brings us to our next group of tests, downsizing to 1-inch buckles. Now, just because you can cram an 1¼ strap into a 1-inch buckle, it doesn't make it an 1¼ buckle. But since we see this type of pairing in the market, let's take a look and see how things stack up. Using Redback 1-inch 238 gauge phosphated buckles with the same Redback 1¼ woven strapping as before, the average of 4 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of 4,540 pounds, about 81% of the performance compared to our recommended 1¼ buckle. And when down gauged further to our 1-inch 197 gauge phosphated buckle, the average of 4 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of 4,231 pounds, about 75% of our original performance. But now let's compare that to the competitor 1¼ woven 3,285-pound strap with their 1-inch 197 gauge phosphated buckle. The average of 5 consecutive tests resulted in a system strength of only 3,152 pounds, about 25% lower performance than the equivalent Redback pairing. And in our opinion, this pretty much defeats the purpose of spending the money on an 1¼ woven strap, considering our 3/4-inch 2,425-pound woven strap with our 3/4-inch 160 gauge phosphate buckle has higher system strength, as demonstrated in our previous video. So to recap, here are the side-by-side comparisons. As you can see, strapping alone does not have system strength, and not all straps and buckles are created equal. This is just another illustration of how Redback's superior weave patterns, coatings, and buckle geometry provide some of the highest joint strengths and repeatable performance in the industry. Is your strapping 5-star certified? Ours is. To learn more about Redback strapping and our 5-star performance standard, give us a call or check us out on the web at redback.com.